Polite English. Mastering. Is it possible? With could you and would you mind? Hello everyone and welcome to our latest lesson in conversational English. Today, we're diving into an important part of polite English expression. Combining is it possible with could you or would you mind? This is a common and polite way to make requests, and it's incredibly useful in everyday conversations. So, let's get started. Let's start with, is it possible? This is a polite way of asking someone if they can do something. For example, is it possible for you to pass the salt? Here, the focus is on the possibility of the action, softening the directness of the request. Now, let's add, could you? This phrase is another polite way of making a request. If you say, could you pass the salt? You're directly asking someone to do something, but in a courteous manner. When we combine these two phrases, we get, is it possible, could you pass the salt? Here, we are not just directly making a request, but also acknowledging that the other person has the freedom to do it or not. It sounds even more polite, because we're considering the other person's ability and willingness to fulfill the request. Another polite expression to use with, is it possible, is, would you mind? This phrase is a courteous way to ask if the person would be okay with doing something. For example, would you mind passing the salt? Again, when we combine it with, is it possible, we get, is it possible, would you mind passing the salt? This sounds extra polite and considerate, because it acknowledges the other person's feelings about the request. Now, let's look at some practical uses of these combinations. These phrases are especially helpful in formal situations or when you're talking to someone you don't know very well. They can help you sound more respectful and considerate. For instance, you might use them in a business meeting or when asking a stranger for directions. And that wraps up our lesson on combining, is it possible, with, could you, or, would you mind? We hope you found this useful in your journey to mastering polite English expressions. As always, practice is key to becoming comfortable with these phrases. So, try using them in your daily English conversations and see the difference it makes. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next lesson.